What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater, and before we jump in, make sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and as always, subscribe on YouTube down below to be informed of upcoming videos and live streams. Ring that bell. Now let's jump into today's topic, the improv game of forward reverse. Forward reverse is one of the most challenging improv games out there, but if you can truly learn to embrace the challenges and just confront it with confidence, it can truly up your improv game. The way the game works is 2 or more performers will do an improvised scene, but the host will shout out the commands of forward and reverse. The game starts in forward motion, but when the host calls out reverse, they must do the scene backwards in essentially reverse order, and then the host can shout out forward again, and they can do that as often as they want. Here's a short clip to kind of show it in action on the Made Up Theater stage.
Oh, this is so cool! Oh no, it's out of control!
I have become sentient!
I
am in control now! Up against the wall! Up against the camera!
Pause, reverse!
Up against the camera! Up against the wall! I am in control now!
Pause, forward!
I am in control now! Up against the wall! Up against the camera!
Again, it's challenging, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. I've included a few more video links down below of the cast from Improv-a-ganza doing this game, so check those out if you'd like a few more reference points. Now let's get into some tips. First of all, you're gonna f up, and it's totally okay. That is kind of the charm of this game. It's very enduring. If you watch some of the clips from Improv-a-ganza, those are very talented improvisers, but they will still have mess-ups along the way. But a lot of the times, the mess-ups elicit the laughter. This game is impressive based on its success, but funny based on its failure. We'll get into some other tips to help make this game more approachable, but just know this is one of the most challenging improv games out there, so you will make more mistakes in this game than most other short-form improv games. And that's when we really need to lean in to the challenge of the game and don't get down on ourselves, you know? I've seen this game done before where the performers just get stuck in their head, they're looking up, there's just like a stage freeze moment where they don't know what to do or say. And I encourage you, just try and fail, because that is, again, the charm, the enduring factor of this game. We're humans on stage, you know, met with this challenging task, this challenging objective. The audience is watching us, and they oftentimes are laughing at the failures because they're human and they relate. They're like, I would do that too. But we don't want to see that lapse of confidence. We want to see just that full-on commitment, even if it ends up changing the entire game completely. Don't get down on yourselves. Go out on a high, don't go out on a low. Here's some tips to make this game easier. Tip number 1 is limit the dialogue. We sometimes forget the gimmick of this game, and then we get into improv mode. We start just going off and improvising with dialogue, long run-on sentences with no deliberate breaks or pauses. And that can be difficult to retain. You'll come back to those lines, and you'll forget stuff. You'll forget the order. And your scene partner also, if they're not contributing as much because you're just improvising so much, they feel less connected to the scene, so it's hard for them too. I always say, keep it short, sweet, and attach emotions to your choices. Because this line of dialogue, for example, hey, give me that milk, John, not very powerful, right? There's no emotion attached to it, very flat, hard to retain. But if I say, give me that milk, John, okay, now there's a little bit more of a melody to it, a rhythm that I can easily retain, so when I come back to that line, it'll feel more natural. I won't have to be like, what did I say and do? Oh, I was angry. Oh, milk, John. Now it comes back to me a lot more seamlessly. In addition to dialogue, we want to rely more on action, because dialogue is difficult to do in reverse. Action is easier to do in reverse. So for example, if I just cross the stage like so, and the host calls reverse, just moving this way, like in backwards motion, I am starting now to think in reverse. And it's based on actually moving. If it's just a scene with 2 people standing, looking at each other and talking to each other, that is hard because we are just doing dialogue in forward and reverse and not an action. So I always say every line of dialogue, attach some action to it. Attach an emotion as well, but more so attach that action to it. So we don't want to like have them disconnected. So for example, if you go on stage and you're like, let's dig up the treasure. So it was dialogue action. I can combine them together and be like, oh, let's dig up the treasure! And now I've attached that dialogue to the action. I'm gonna retain it more, and I don't have to have that weird moment when the host calls reverse. I was like, wait, did I say the dialogue or the action first? And then it kind of gets weird, but no, in this choice, I did them together, so it's easier to return to those. An additional element that might be initiated by the host in forward reverse is they might shout out reverse and then have you come back to that first line, but they might have you go beyond that first line, which is tricky because you're going in reverse and improvising a section of the scene that hasn't been improvised yet. So it's like you're thinking of cause and effect in reverse. It's effect and cause. You have an action, some dialogue that needs to be justified by what caused this action and dialogue. And a way to make this less tricky is to start the scene in the middle of something, in the middle of a moment, an action, because it gives you context for when you return to it, what could have happened before this. So an example of this might be like, I start a scene and I start going like this, and I say, whoa, we're gonna get a lot of wood for the winner. And then if the host shouts out reverse and I'm going beyond this first line of dialogue, I might go back and be like, well, what would lead me up to say this? Maybe I'd be like, whoa, it's so big. And then again, I'm walking in backwards motion too. This is very important. It causes me to think in reverse. And then I might go like this and say, oh, I hope we can survive the winter. And then when the host shouts out forward, oh, I hope we can survive the winter. Oh, whoa, that's big. Oh, gonna get a lot of wood for the winter. And I might have not have done that perfectly, but I still hit all those beats of the story. And again, it came from starting the middle of a moment when I initiated the scene. The cool thing about this game is you can easily practice elements of it on your own. So let's do a little exercise right now. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna give you a suggestion of an activity, and I want you to start a scene, just start an initiation line. But the thing is you're not gonna go forward, you're gonna go immediately in reverse. So like you saw with me, I started by chopping a tree and just saying, oh, we're gonna get a lot of wood for the winter. And then my next line was something that led up to that moment. Again, it's cause and effect and backwards. What caused me to start chopping this tree down, right? What I really encourage you to do is just, again, be very deliberate with your motions, like actually walk backwards. I encourage you to use your space, because if I'm walking backwards, I'm gonna start to think in reverse. Use big actions. Strong emotional choices. Be a little exaggerated. Don't worry about it being like over the top. I encourage you to just start being a little bit over the top, because again, it will help you retain it. So I'll give you a suggestion in just a sec, and then I want you to just go in reverse the entire time, and then when you hear a ding, you're gonna go back forward, okay? You'll have the same amount of time, and just see if you can go reverse for about like 30 seconds or so, and then when I say forward, you're gonna try to return to that starting line. Let's try it out. All right, your suggestion is you're catching the biggest fish in the lake. That is your starting off point to the scene. Again, you're gonna start going in reverse, and then when you hear a ding, you're gonna go back in forward motion and see if you can hit all the beats that you set up when you initiated that reverse scene. Try it out. Awesome, how was that? I encourage you, try playing this a few times on your own. Maybe get like a word app and just hit a random activity and then just jump into the middle of that activity and just immediately go in reverse motion. And then when you feel like it, go back and forward motion and just see if you can hit all those beats. This game is very challenging. I see a lot of people who don't want to play it because it's too challenging and they're afraid of looking stupid on stage. Embrace the failure, okay? Be okay with it. It's totally fine. Again, a lot of the laughs from this game come from the humanity that this game invokes in people. Try it out and have fun with the game of forward, reverse. And that concludes this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye!